Welcome back, everybody. This is your boy, the Loose Juice of the Loose Juice channel. Today, as you can tell by the video title, I'm sure down below, we're going to be putting a Vance and Hines exhaust on the 2023 Pan America S. So let's get into it. For today's install, I'm going to go over what you need, and if I forget anything, I'll put it up in the text here. First and foremost, obviously, you're going to need yourself the appropriate model Vance and Hines system for your bike. This one is a slip-on muffler and the mid pipe. That is just the option from Vance and Hines. I don't think you can get just the slip-on. Maybe you can, but in my opinion, doing the resonator delete and putting this mid pipe on should make a huge difference. Let's start with, you're going to need a 6mm Allen to take off the center stand. You're going to use a spring puller tool. I've cleverly just put these here, but you're going to use this spring puller tool on the center stand as well, but it will come in later when you go to do exhaust springs. This spring puller tool is supplied by Vance and Hines. You will need a 5/16 socket. Doesn't have to be deep well. I just happen to grab a deep well. These will be used on the exhaust clamps that came from Vance and Hines for their heat shield. You will need a half-inch socket. This is for these bolts that go into this dog bone and support plate. I'll show a video later, but this is for this. You will need a 12mm wrench for this black nut that goes on the back side of this support bracket. Again, it'll make more sense in the video, but you need a 12mm wrench. You'll need a Torx 40 bit, a Torx 27 bit. You could use actual bits. I just happen to have these in my toolkit on my bike, and I think I'm just gonna use those. But feel free to tell me I'm wrong. You'll need a 15mm socket. That is for this torque nut. And you'll need a 5/8 socket or wrench for this torque nut. That's most everything that you're gonna need for right now. Also, use your standard precautions when putting bikes up on the lift. Use your supplied bar to keep it, at not put tension on the jack. I think you know what I'm saying. Anyways, also don't turn the bike on before you go to do the exhaust install. I know if you're like, oh, I'll only run it a minute to get it up on the ramp, but like, don't do that. You're about to put your hands on this stuff. Be smart. Also, before we get into this, I just want to give a shout out to my friends over at Brapstar. I'm not sponsored. I bought this shirt. I also have a shit ton of other Brapstar merch. This one was gifted to me. Thanks, Josh and Shay. If you're into rad stuff by a bunch of weirdos and, I don't know, ghouls and goblins and stuff, and motorcycles and choppers and, I don't know, having a good time, check out brapstar.com. Now, I know some of you probably have already thought in your head, why the hell would you use an Allen key instead of using a bit with the ratchet? And I'll tell you why. It's because if something goes wrong, and I need to work on this bike, I will only have this. I don't keep 40mm or Torx 40 bits in my toolkit on the bike. I keep this. Try to keep the toolkit small. That toolkit just doesn't have that bit supplied. So if I need to take the skid plate off or any other Torx 40 thing, when I go to put this stuff on, I want to put it on with this. And yes, I'm going to crank on it, but I'm going to be able to get it by hand with this Torx 40 bit or this Torx 40 L key. Right? Right. First step they call for is taking off the center stand. So we're gonna go ahead and use the supplied puller here and pull off. I said we're gonna use this supplied puller here to pull off these springs. That gives us access to our Allen keyhole. Just to keep things in order, I'm gonna put these back where they or when we go to install, we'll do them one at a time. These springs are pretty tough. So we'll need this over on the other side. So we throw it off to the other knot on the table. All right, so we're gonna try to use one of these. Let's see if it works. If not, I might have to get a bit on a ratchet. Nope, that'll come off by hand. All right, fantastic. Then we're gonna come over to our exhaust side and do the same damn thing. I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but there's one, oh, sorry, camera, bad cameraman. 1 and 2. I'm gonna repeat the same process and jump ahead in the video. Now that we have our center stand out of the way, I just kind of set it down back there. We have a few options. I know that I haven't actually read the instructions. I know, oddly enough, I just watched a video, so I kind of get the general idea how things work. So we can either take the slip-on off and the heat shield here, and then work our way towards, this portion of it. I also am wondering about getting this torque nut back here, my fingers on. I believe it may, in the book, call for taking off this brake assembly, but I am lazy, and I know many of you are like me, and you're like, I bet I can get in there with a wobble. So that is a 15 millimeter, so stay tuned. All right, so instead of a wobble, I am actually able to just get a 15 millimeter wrench. This is a stubby one, but I actually probably should get a full length one. I am not gonna go back. So we're gonna try to loosen this guy. I'm gonna go get a full-size wrench. All right, so we got our full-size wrench. We're gonna try and get this sucker loose. Damn, it's tight. Yep. Woo, I got it loose. Fucking whacked my thumb. You ever play the game Whack Fuck? It's been a while since I had that on the channel. All right, I'm gonna loosen this up all the way. We're gonna keep moving. All right, here's the last few strokes of this. Torque. I don't even know that we need this fully loose. We just need it, or fully off, I should say. This just occurred to me now. This is just like a band clamp. That one time a band clamp. So yeah, this should be loose enough so that way when we take off the slip-on and everything back here, we should be able to shimmy this resonator box out towards the back. Sorry, I know that wasn't towards the back. So let's get started with removing the hanger, the heat shields, all this stuff for this bad boy. I'm gonna go ahead and start with this little guy right here just because he's right in front of me. And did I grab the right size? Well, you wanna make sure you have the right size torque. So we're gonna take our T30, I think I said T27 in the instructions, but maybe I fixed that. Oh, that was not very tight. Take our T30, loosen that. I'm sure there's somebody shouting at me that I'm doing this all wrong. Blah, blah, blah. You don't need instructions if you watched a YouTube video, but that's why you guys are here, to watch my YouTube video of me that I learned how to do it from somebody else's YouTube video. I think that's kind of cool. All right, so there is another torque clamp thing down there. This one is much more easy to get to, so I think I'm gonna use a 15 millimeter socket on a ratchet for that guy. Or I think we could leave this in place and take this all out as one unit, which is probably easier. So you know what? We're not gonna take this out, but you could. All right, so we're gonna take our Torx 40 again and loosen this guy up. We don't need anything on the back side. This says internal nut, whatever you want to call that, nut. That wasn't too terribly tight. Again, feel free to use a ratchet with the Torx bit. It's a lot easier and quicker. All right, that one's out. Now, what we should be able to do, since there's nothing holding this on, I'm gonna back you up a little bit. Back that thing up so you can see. what I'm thinking is gonna happen is the only thing really holding this thing up is that connection right here. So we should be able to loosen this up and take it out. Actually, I think there's a secret hidden bolt. All right, there is in fact a quote unquote super secret hidden bolt. This guy right back here. You can see it with my finger kinda. So I believe, unless I can come up with a cunning way to get to it without taking this off, this is gonna require the rear brake assembly to come off. So we're gonna loosen this guy, this guy, this guy, and then continue. All right, I'm actually gonna go ahead and use a long shank T40 on a ratchet, just because that's gonna make everything go so much quicker. All right, now that gives us access to this guy back here. Let me get a better look at it so you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. I know there's tons of people that have done this before that if they're happening to watch this video for whatever reason, why they'd be watching it. Yes, you gotta get to this guy. That connects to the resonator box. Yeah. Now let's try to give this another shot at pulling this off. Now that's loose. As you may have seen, I struggled with that a little bit. I was worried there was a connection back there. There is a little, exhaust hanger, if you will. This guy, it just goes into a hole with a rubber bushing. I think it was a little bit caught up on that and a little sticky around here. But otherwise, that was all of the bolts you needed to take out. Now it is time for a well-deserved halftime is what I'm gonna call this, because we got the exhaust out. Ear brake. Cheers. So I'm gonna have a couple sips of this, and then we're gonna go on to assembly. As far as I can tell, without reading the instructions, because reading is for nerds, we're gonna have to reinstall the rear brake assembly onto there, and then there's another hole back on the back side. Then we'll need to reinstall the center stand. This guy will need to be attached back to this. Then we'll slip in our mid pipe and continue the rest of the install. Oh, and one more important thing that I don't know that it's called out. It definitely wasn't called out in the video that I watched, at least I don't remember it being called out. That super secret last bolt that we just took out, it doesn't exist in the new setup. You're not putting it, there's nothing to put it back into because it actually threads into the resonator box. There's like a little ear, I think is what they would call that. We're not using it, so skip that. So, just confirming, these bolts did not have blue Loctite on them, so I am going to continue to not put blue Loctite on them, which seems a little sus to me. But if the factory didn't do it, we're not doing it either. This one, nothing outside. Right, now I wonder what size nut that is. Oh yeah, well, it's 30. Just start with a little bit of off, and then put it in there. Now we're gonna go to the center stand, which is our 6mm Allen. Might be helpful to have a friend for this part. Too bad I don't have an extra set of hands right now. I'm just gonna get them started so that way it doesn't keep falling out on me. Just kidding. For fuck's sake. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these down and jump ahead to once these are in. All right, so we got our 2 bolts for the center stand reinstalled on both sides, and we picked up our spring puller tool that we threw across the other side earlier. Now, that leads us to reinstalling the springs. This might be a little tricky, but like I said, we're gonna do them one spring at a time. Ta-da! Now that we have our center stand reinstalled, we're going to take our mid pipe and our torque clamp. We're going to make sure the nut is facing out towards us. We're going to slip the mid pipe through, and then before we attach it onto the catalytic converter, we're going to slip that torque band on and then shimmy the mid pipe towards the front of the bike. Make sure I'm getting the shot. Yeah. So you can see now I got this is on. Try to slip that out of the way. All right. Now visually on here, I can see where the old clamp was sitting, so I'm kind of letting it sit where the old clamp was. This one, oddly enough, instead of being 15mm, is a 5/8. You could use a socket. I probably should. Maybe I will. I'm gonna get this to a point where it's just snug, so it's not loosely moving around. I'm gonna go get a ratchet. All right, I happened to grab a wobble. You don't need a wobble, it's just what I could find quickly. So you'll have that on these jobs. So like I said, tighten this down just until the band, like it starts clamping on the band, but not too much, because you wanna be able to adjust this mid pipe so that you can get the fitment correct. That's pretty much right about there. It's where I want it for now. It's not so tight that I can't wiggle this. So now we need to head towards the back and start on the assembly of the hanger. And we'll slip the slip. And then lastly, we'll worry about the springs that go here. All right. Now, as I alluded to at the beginning of the video, we've got a support bracket to assemble. So this little dog bone guy is gonna end up going in here. And then this will fit onto here, like so. And this, with the Vance and Hines facing out, is gonna end up hanging up onto there, right there. So we need to get this bracket loosely assembled on here. I probably have the orientation of this wrong. All right, so I just kind of confirmed the fitment here. We're gonna want our bracket, we're gonna want to install our bracket so that you can see this bend. It's kind of bending towards you. So we're gonna install the bolts with the dog bone. All right, so I'm gonna take our little dog bone. I'm gonna point this down like this, slip this into here, and we're gonna try to use our fingers to line up the holes. Take our bolts, put them through the plate here, and then play like operation to get them lined up with these guys in the dog bone. Dog, got that dog in me, you know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna do our second one. And then loosely fit these. So there should still be a little bit of play. You can see this direction and that direction, right? Don't tighten them more than that for now. Now we're gonna take our T40, this is what we took off of the bike. We're gonna mount it through mounting hole up, oh gosh. Up here. This guy up here. We're gonna slip this on till it lines up with the holes. Slip that in. Then take this provided nut, put it on the back side. And again, don't tighten this one up yet. Just get it on there enough so that you can still move everything. What they called for in the video I watched was that you need a 2-inch gap between here. This will keep the proper spring tension that you need for everything. So I'm gonna go grab a ruler or something to make sure this is close. If it's not set right, that's why we can loosely adjust up with those mounting points here, or technically at the mid pipe connection down here, you could make adjustments down here. But once we have our correct gap, we'll tighten this, and then finally tighten down here. All right, here's video proof. I'm actually doing it for real. So we've got our, it's almost money right where it's at right now, 2-inch gap. All right, so we're gonna take our 12mm socket on a ratchet, make sure she's in tightening mode, and go ahead and tighten up these guys right here, right? So I'm gonna get them tight. It's hard to film. You're gonna take my word for it. We're gonna jump ahead to the next step. All right, our next step is going to be tightening up this T40, and we're also going to need the 12mm for the nut that's on the back side. So hold it on the back, tighten it on the front, what have yous. Then we're gonna come down here and finish tightening our torque nut, which again happens to be a 5/8 socket. That's what came in the kit. Don't come at me. Now, we get to come up to here and use our spring pullers to pull some springs. So we get our springs. This should be a lot easier than kickstand springs. Try to not get my hand in the way, but put it on one side, drop it on the other. Same thing for the bottom. Hang it on one side, grab it with one end. Use the tool to kind of orient it correctly. There you go. Now, we technically could fire it up like this. All right, per the video I watched, it's gonna go on with this little divot towards the top, so it's gonna sit like that. So you wanna take your clamps that you should have undone before you started this and orient them so that you can access them from the bottom. In this case, we're gonna slip them on like so. Spin them around. But leave them undone because you're gonna have to slip it around the pipe. This looks like it's probably gonna scratch up this black coating, so just be careful. I know that wasn't a great shot. It looks like my camera angle is off, but I'm gonna repeat that. this up. This is pretty much right where I'm pointing right now. The camera right in the middle is about where we're aiming to install this. So let's kind of carefully put that around there, like so. And that will give us access to tighten them from the back. Then actually, before we start up, after I tighten these down, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe down all the surfaces just so we don't burn in any fingerprints into the fresh finish of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these down off camera. Now, when it comes time to clean up your surfaces, what I did first was I cleaned up my hands because they were pretty gross. I don't know, you probably saw that on the videos because I got these big meaty paws and I always seem to put them right in your face. But today, my chosen cleaner is going to be a contact cleaner. It's an electrical contact cleaner, but this should do the job of taking up greasy fingerprints off of the surfaces. You could use any basic degreaser. I don't know that I'm not aware of any restrictions on this black surface type. I mean, don't use like aircraft paint stripper. I mean, I like, be wise here. Simple green would probably do the trick. I just didn't have it handy. I just saw this first. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this down. So we can do it kind of like this, and take a rag. Just be careful not to touch the surface again. After you don't put your fingerprints back on it. Spray the rag if you want, come in on the back side. So I'm gonna level with you. Normally in these types of videos, people wanna see, or really hear, a sound comparison with the stock exhaust on the bike and then cut over to new exhaust on the bike. So I neglected to record a sound sample of the stock exhaust because I'm an idiot. Also, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't want to run the bike and then have to touch hot exhaust. So I brought in an instrument that should replicate the sound. Let me know if I get the stock exhaust on a Pan America right. Now let's cut over to a clip of our new exhaust. All right, let's try a cold start. That sounds pretty damn good. I don't know about you. Yeah, crank that on. All right, I think that's enough. All right, put it down in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about that new exhaust. I think it sounds pretty cool. In the next video, I'll go ahead and get a test ride in with it and see if it's too droney. I do believe it has a decibel killer in there currently. I could take it out. From what I can tell right now, I think I probably want to leave it in, or at least let this thing, heat up, really set in and see how it settles in before I decide to take that dB killer out. But it's pretty obvious noise difference already for me. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. And then I appreciate you watching. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm kind of an idiot, but at least if I can do it, you can do it. So thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to see more videos. Very YouTuber things, I know. Anyways, keep it juice.